in your heart. Change flowing through your world every single day. Change, yeah, yeah, yeah. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss now. And we won't get fooled again. No way, we won't get fooled again. No way. Meet the new boss, not the old boss, yeah. We won't get fooled again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Woo! Great. Wow, 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 wow.
Thank you, people. We've got
John
like
Waite.
an audience here.
You got your audience, you got your fans around the world, those
Yeah.
you can see and those you can't see. And people have been buying your records.
New York, man. Yeah.
Supporting your music. And what an honor it is to have you in our
Well, I
studios.
really enjoyed it.
So tell me, John, your album name again, the new
It's
album?
called Wooden Heart Volume 2, Acoustic Anthology. There's a Volume 1 that's only 4 tracks. That's an EP. This one's got, I think, 12 or 14 songs. I forget. But it's really, I mean, honestly, I think it's some of the best things I've done, certainly as a singer. And being able to choose some of those songs and bring them back, like Missing You. Isn't It Time by the Babies, you know, but just unplugged.
Right.
In God's Shadow, that I wrote with Keith Reed from Procol Harum. Just some beautiful. I mean, I like them, but I mean, it's a joy. You know, I mean, you know, you get older, and it's a joy to sort of look back at your career and do the stuff that you love so much, and it still have impact. It means a lot to me.
Well, what a pleasure to have you here. Thank you, John, for doing this.
God
Thank
bless
you,
you
guys.
No, you know,
Great
thank
band.
you for having us. We
You know.
really appreciate it.
Can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
John Waite, our guest, and you're watching Border Crossings. I'm Larry London.
Hi, I'm John Davis, and this is Motor Week.
Join us as we slip into the renewed style and luxury of the Buick Encore. Pat Goss has the tools to keep you on the cutting edge of car care. Zach Maskell gets his total Corvette on. Then it's more of every kind of performance in the Porsche 911 GTS.
So come drive with us next.
Motor Week, television's original automotive magazine.
The Buick Encore was an early entrant into what has become a crowded and highly competitive subcompact luxury crossover segment. So in order to maintain its early lead, it gets a few updates, ones that should keep it Buick's #1 selling vehicle, as well as keep competitors on their toes.
We've been admirers of the Buick Encore since it first arrived for 2013. GM was clearly ahead of the small luxury crossover trend. But with so many other brands jumping into the segment, it didn't take long for Encore to look a little stale. This 2017 edition is more than just a flashy refresh, however, with significant updates that should have plenty of fans calling for another Encore. But starting with the sheet metal, everything forward of the A-pillars is new. Most prominent is a rounder nose, sporting Buick's new winged grille. Both hood and fenders are smoother. This more modern design is clearly better looking, but we have to say it is also less distinctive than before. Inside, just about everything in front of the driver has been updated. The dash layout is enhanced, getting a more cockpit-style form, upgraded materials, and better fitment for the new 8-inch color touchscreen. Some built-to-price reminders remain, and it's still nowhere near as luxurious feeling as competitors like the Lexus NX, but all in all, it's a big improvement. Keyless entry with push-button start are new, as are the 4.2-inch color info display in the gauge cluster and available Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Rear seat room continues to be tight, but adult space is more than plentiful up front. Cargo space remains merely adequate at 18.8 cubic feet, 48.4 with seatbacks folded, though the Encore is one of the few remaining vehicles that also has a fold-flat front passenger seat for toting longer items. For 2016, Sport Touring trim arrived, and with it, more power for the 1.4-liter i4 Turbo. It now outputs 153 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. The 138 horsepower version remains standard, as does a 6-speed automatic transmission. Active on-demand all-wheel drive is available. While we didn't find that base engine underpowered previously, the Sport's added pep is much appreciated, especially for highway merging. You feel like you have a little more control over your situation. Now, Encore is not as refined feeling on the road as its larger Buick crossover siblings, but it is noticeably quieter than chassis-made Chevrolet Trax. Put it to the test at the track, this Encore gets to 60 well over a second quicker than the original at 8.6 seconds. There's enough torque for a snappy launch, but things taper off pretty significantly on the top end. Factor in slow, momentum-killing shifts from the transmission, and the quarter mile seems to take a lot longer than the indicated 16.6 seconds at 83 miles per hour. Not exactly thrilling, but again, over a second faster than before. Nothing changes in the chassis department, so the surprisingly fun and nimble nature that we praised is still in effect. Here is where you notice the Encore's Opal design roots the most. Push too hard, however, and traction control is quick to shut the party down. Steering is quick, has good weight, and even decent feel. Body roll is relatively minor. 115 feet was our average stopping distance from 60, with good stability and only slight fade after repeated runs. Government fuel economy ratings for our Sport Touring all-wheel driver are 26 city, 31 highway, and 28 combined. So our 27.8 miles per gallon average on regular was right on. Slightly better than average for the Energy Impact Score, using 11.8 barrels of oil yearly with annual CO2 emissions of 5.2 tons. Pricing starts at just $23,915, though for that you get front-wheel drive only. The cost for adding all-wheel drive varies as you escalate the trim levels from there. If you want heated seats, you'll have to step up to Essence trim, putting you close to $30,000. Without a doubt, the Buick Encore has been a big success, so making it more appealing to more people seems like a no-brainer. That's what GM has done, and it's sure to keep the band playing on. Our success story this week takes us to Asheville, North Carolina, where they're driving on sunshine. Brightfield Transportation Solutions has deployed over 100 EV charging stations in North Carolina and beyond. Some are standalones, while others, like this one at Earth Fair, a regional grocer, integrate solar power. The 8 solar panels can provide up to 15,000 miles of zero-emission solar-powered driving every year.
If you drive an EV and you're powered off of the average grid mix in America, you're going to see a 60% reduction in your greenhouse gas emissions. If you go to driving on sunshine, it's a 100% reduction.
Retailers, universities, and cities purchase Brightfields to attract EVs, showcasing their clean energy commitment and
Around 60,000 fans from around the world gather here at Carlisle, Pennsylvania. There's over 5,000 Corvettes with every year and model being represented.
People come from all over the world. They come from Australia, they come from New Zealand, they come from Europe, and then they come locally from the mid-Atlantic and points west of the Mississippi, and they all want to come to celebrate America's sports car.
Although 1 million vets have been made, the Holy Grail has not been lost. In 1967, GM wanted to build a pure drag and road racing car to compete against Porsche and Ferrari.
They came up with this, the L88.
20 were made that year, 16 are known to still exist, and 8 are right here. And I found a common theme around the Carlisle Fairgrounds. No one would even consider selling me their car.
Now, as long as I got my health, it's going to stay with me for a long, long time because I'm just blessed to have a piece of history like this.
With these few worth around $30 million collectively, even if I had the dough, I can understand why.
Rags down. Rags down means stop cleaning your car or you will be disqualified.
We're walking around the best of the best.
Looking for fit and finish.
Fit, finish, dirt, dust.
Judge for cleanliness.
Tasked with determining the winner of each class. Preserved originals, full restorations, and this modified car.
Again, we're not allowed to touch the car. We're not allowed to touch the ground or kneel. We can only see what we can see from leaning over.
Glass looks good. No cracks, no scratches.
This owner bought her coupe brand new, then regrettably sold it.
My son found it in a local newspaper, and he said, call this number. So I called the number, bought it back. So I paid sales tax on it twice. So Governor loves me.
All right, so we have a 2016 Stingray here. What are we going to be looking at, and what class is this in?
This class is Wash and Show H. What we're going to be looking for on the outside here is basic cleanliness.
I brought 2 today. I have a total of 6 Corvettes, 3 older ones, and 3 newer body style.
A little bit of water spotting here. Other than that, it looks pretty good.
I've got to say you have a really good eye for this stuff because I'm not even seeing half of this. It's just so easy to overlook it because I just feel like you're so used to seeing it in daily cars.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get a sense of where to look and what to look for once you've done this a couple of times. So it comes second nature anymore.
You did have a little bit of dirt under there.
We did have a little bit of. See, you're getting into it. You really. It doesn't take long.
In many of these classes, parts shouldn't be missing or damaged, and pieces that were originally, let's say, painted, shouldn't be chrome.
Half a point, because that's the minimum we can take off.
Right. Half a point for a little dirt there in the gas cap area.
That's it.
Other than very clean car.
My biggest takeaway from the judges, make sure your parts are right, and especially with so many similar cars like Corvettes at Carlisle, pay attention to the smallest details, and you too may just drive home a winner.
It takes cutting-edge tools to keep a car on the road. Here's Pat Goss with some you should have handy.
I often get customers in the shop that ask me how we do certain things. And one thing that they're always amazed at is how we manage to cut various things and keep it so neat. Well, the first thing we don't do is we typically don't use a hacksaw. You see, we use hacksaws for a lot of different things, but when it comes to stuff like exhaust systems and so on, brake lines, air conditioning lines, spot welds, all of these different things, we have specialized tools that we use to do it. Exhaust systems, we use one of these chain cutters. Now, the advantage to this over other methods is that you have several of these cutting wheels on it. You wrap it around the pipe, and because you can't cut all the way around the pipe because you can't swing the tool, all you have to do is go back and forth, and because you have cutters all the way around the pipe, cuts the whole thing off just as slick as anything you would ever want to see. That's how we do that. Brake lines, fuel lines, AC lines, and so on, normally you'll use a tubing cutter, but in many cases you won't have enough space to use the typical tubing cutter. So we use these specialized ones. These have ratchets in them, and what we do, you tighten it down onto the tubing, and then you can move this like so, If I was trying to cut this, what would happen is that the center would ratchet around the pipe like that, and it cuts it off. You don't need a lot of space to do it. They come in different sizes. The red one would be for brake and fuel lines, blue one probably for air conditioning lines, and it's great around the house. Another thing, of course, is spot welds. How in the world do we break spot welds without tearing up the metal around them? Well, we use one of these. Some people refer to them as fly cutters. They're often referred to as spot weld cutters. They have sharp teeth on these cutter heads. What we do is we take a center punch and we make a center punch right where we want to have the cut made, right in the center of it. Then the pointer on this tool fits into the dimple that we just made, and it compresses, it pushes in, you push the drill down, the cutter cuts a nice circle right around the spot weld, and you haven't damaged any of the metal or anything like that. Does a great job. So these are just some of the specialized tools that we use in the shop to have clean, efficient cutting of various things. And if you have a question or comment, drop me a line right here at Motor Week.
With summer now in the rearview mirror, our 2017 Honda CR-V is heading towards cooler weather and fall colors. Powering the leaf peeping is, of course, the CR-V Touring small but mighty 1.5-liter i4 turbo. So far, its 190 horsepower has kept our power-hungry staff satiated, though we must be working it harder of late as mileage has slipped a bit to 30.3 miles per gallon. We did have one recall to address, which required a few hours stay at the dealership for replacement of a rear fuel feed pipe. Other than that, it's just been minor nitpicks, a shifter that finds neutral instead of drive too easily, and what one driver feels is the very slow pace of the power liftgate. You'll find plenty of space behind it, though, at a much lower load floor than most of the competition. Both make the CR-V a very practical and user-friendly vehicle to have around the office. So at 7 months down, 5 more to go with the Honda CR-V. There's a new addition to our fleet as well, this 2017 Kia Niro. Dressed in touring trim, this little red hybrid wagon looks sharp and should deliver us 40-plus MPGs. Next time, we'll bring you up to speed on the Chrysler Pacifica and Subaru Crosstrek on our next Motor Week long-term road test update.
There's always something new in the car business, so here's Yolanda Vasquez with this week's Motor News.
Internal combustion engines still rule the road, but at the 2017 Frankfurt Motor Show, electrics are getting ready for a more commanding role. The show's star was the Mercedes-AMG Project One. This plug-in hybrid hypercar concept combines a racing V6 with no less than 4 electric motors for over 1,000 horsepower. More practical is the Mercedes-Benz Concept EQA, a second member for their upcoming EQ electric sub-brand. Or how about this Mercedes-Benz GLC F-Cell with ultra-compact hydrogen fuel cell and battery technology? Frankfurt was the world premiere for the BMW iVision Dynamics. This 4-door Grand Coupe, clearly aimed at Tesla, has a 373-mile all-electric range. For SUV fans, check out the BMW Concept X7 iPerformance, a 3-row plug-in hybrid that seats 6 in high-tech luxury. Even Mini's iconic 2-box design sees a brighter future with electric power. Volkswagen ID Electric sub-brand will include the ID Cross crossover for 2020, followed by the sure-to-be iconic ID Buzz microvan in 2022. Audi is predicting electric autonomous driving with the Audi Icon. Using artificial intelligence, but no steering wheel or pedals, it has the ability to drive itself nearly 500 miles on a single charge. Audi's all-new petrol and diesel-powered A8 flagship already offers level 3 automated driving and a 48-volt electrical system.